Hi guys. Okay, so please stop saying that I don't have it yet. I must need to affirm more. I got to do this more. I got to do this technique more. It's not about techniques. Manifestation is not something you do. It's who you are. And you've been manifesting your whole life. You know why? Because you are identifying as someone who is experiencing something. And when you identify as that, well, you experience just that. It's not about doing more. It's not about putting in more effort, affirming more, visualizing more, creating a vision board every single day, having to stare at it for 20 hours a day. Like, it's not about methods or techniques. Those are just something we use as a tool to help us get into the state. Now, yes, repetition is scientifically proven to, help us create beliefs and stuff. So yes, I do love me some robotic affirming. I do love to saturate my mind. Absolutely. 100%. But you don't have to do it more. You create an assumption, or you decide it's yours, you stick to that, you don't contradict it, and it shows up. Now, robotic affirming is a tool that I have used to help me stick to that new story when my mind was wanting to automatically go back to the old. So yes, robotic affirming 100%, that is the method that has always worked for me and always helped me stick to the new story. So, there is nothing wrong with using techniques, but I don't want you guys to think that you have to do more. You simply start identifying as the version of yourself that has it. You assume and accept that your desire is already true. It's already done. It's already finished. Creation is finished. It is finished. So if you don't want to robotically affirm, you don't have to. Manifestation is something we have always done, and we never used techniques before, right? Before we ever knew about conscious creation, conscious manifestation, we never had to use techniques before, right? We just simply, whatever we assumed to be true was true. Whatever we identified as. There's a saying, I need to look it up because I don't know exactly what it is, but what you think is who you become. So what you dominantly think is who you become. So your dominant thoughts is who you start identifying as. So nobody ever chooses me. Okay, that's who you're identifying as, someone who is never chosen. So then that's going to reflect into your reality. People are going to mirror that in ways to prove that to be true. They're never going to choose you. You're never going to be chosen. But the great thing is you can easily shift that to, I am always chosen. You can easily shift it. I am always chosen. And then that will start being reflected. But manifestation is not just something that we can turn on and off like a light switch. That's not the case. That's not how it works. We've always been doing it. We've always experienced it. Manifestation is simply your assumptions being reflected out. That's all it is. It's always being reflected constantly. Even if, you do take a conscious break, okay, your dominant, your assumptions, your dominant thoughts are creating your assumptions, and those are always being reflected. No matter what, they're being reflected. So again, it's just not something you can stop doing. It's like breathing. It's as natural as breathing air. We've always done it. And you don't just stop breathing. You continue breathing no matter what. So, but it does not have to feel like a chore. It does not have to feel like a job. It doesn't have to feel like work. It doesn't have to be exhausting. It doesn't. Like I said, I do prefer robotic affirming, but it is just as easy as deciding something is yours and not contradicting that assumption, not going against it. You persist in that assumption until it hardens into fact. It is that easy. Don't identify with any opposing thoughts. If you receive them, that's okay. Don't identify with them. Don't accept them as true. They have no power over you besides the power that you give them. But I also really want to make it clear that affirming is just conscious thinking. Okay, so affirming is not a technique. It's not a method. Robotic affirming, focused affirming, yes, absolutely. Because those are things that I do consider those a method because, I never really focused affirmed or robotically affirmed per se before I learned about conscious manifestation. I was either thinking favorably or unfavorably, whichever one. I was just thinking. So that's all affirming is in general. Whether you're thinking, I am loved, I am secure, I always get what I want. Okay, you're affirming in your favor. But if you say nothing ever works out for me, I never have enough money, okay, you're affirming unfavorably. So it's just conscious thinking. Whether it's in your favor or it's not. It's not a technique. And I do not use robotic affirming to convince myself that I have something. I am robotically affirming to remind myself who I am, what I already have. I am affirming to become that version of myself that already has my desire, because there are infinite versions of us. And if you have a desire, there is already a version of you with that desire. So you would robotically affirm to become that version of yourself now, to remind yourself that this shit is yours. Now, if you start thinking, oh, I'm affirming to get something, don't freak out. Like, that's okay. Obviously, we are affirming to, like, align with this version of ourselves and to get this thing. But, just don't think too much into it, because I do have people being like, am I affirming to get it, or am I affirming myself to remind it? Your subconscious doesn't know the difference anyway. It doesn't care. It doesn't give a fuck. Just think in your favor. But again, the power is not in the techniques. The power is within you. So if you're saying that, they work, then they work. But if you're saying they don't work, then they won't work. Like, if you have a technique and you're like, oh, everybody said that robotic affirming works, but it's not working for me. Okay, because you're telling yourself and you're affirming that it's not working for you. Stop telling yourself that, because the law is literal and your word is law. So if you're assuming that robotic affirming isn't working for me, okay, that's the version of reality that you're choosing. You're choosing the version of reality where robotic affirming does not work for you, and that is what you will experience. So just change your assumption around it. Change your thoughts around it. No, it does work. Everything works for me. Any method works. Every method works perfectly. I get everything I want quickly and easily. That I did have an issue with that with robotic affirming when I first got into manifestation, Lawofassumption. It was, people were back and forth with the robotic affirming a few years ago. And some of them were like, yeah, it works. And others were like, no, it doesn't. So I was like, does it fucking work or does it not? I was very confused, and I had actually went through that stage where I had the assumption that it doesn't work. So I had to just be like, no, it does work. It works fabulously for me. I did have to change my assumption about that. But simply just decide who you are and let the 3D reflect it. It has to, because it's literally the law. It's already finished the moment you say it is. Creation is finished. If you see yourself with it in imagination, in consciousness, in the 4D, it is yours. If you say right now, I have it, like me and SP are together, okay, then you guys are fucking together. You just need to let, the universe do its job and let it bring you guys together. Don't think of it as it has to take a long time. It has to be this long process. It has to be this long bridge of events, because it doesn't. It does not have to take long. Usually the only delay that you experience is the delay that you provide for yourself. I say a lot that the old story plays out until you make the new story dominant. And that really depends on you. It's different for everybody. But if you're, especially if you're constantly contradicting yourself, if you're telling yourself that it's taking a long time, if you're telling yourself you don't have it yet, you're not seeing movement, you're not seeing changes, or that, you're experiencing a delay, or that you're still waiting for it, okay, that is what you will experience. Stop telling yourself that. Tell yourself you have it, and you have it now, and you will experience that. When you live from that knowing, you stop chasing and you start receiving. It really is that easy. You don't have to chase. You don't have to chase nothing. You could just say you have it and it will show up for you. But stop thinking unfavorably. If you notice yourself thinking in a way that you don't want to experience in your 3D reality, okay, shift your awareness from that. Take your awareness off of what you don't want to experience and place it on what you do. So tell yourself that this is what you're experiencing. This is what you have. You don't have to act a certain way. You don't have to feel a certain way. Just think in your favor. Think as if you have it. I will also have a lot of people saying that, yeah, divine timing. No, you're not waiting on divine timing. They will say, I'm just waiting on divine. No. I mean, if you want to think that, okay, that's cool. That's fine. You can. It's your reality. You can do whatever you want. Me personally, I don't experience divine timing. If I want something, I know I can have it, and I can have it now. I don't have to wait for the universe's permission. Like, we are the universe anyways. Like, we are source, and the universe is simply us also. We're not separate from it. We're also not separate from our desire. So stop separating yourself from it and saying that you're waiting for it, that you don't have it yet. No, you do have it. You just need to remind yourself, hey, yeah, no, duh, I have it. It's already mine. I have the money. I have the love. I have the health. I have the success. I have the relationship. Whatever you want, just tell yourself you have it. You do not have to wait for anything. But back to what I was saying about the old story playing out until the new one becomes dominant. I feel like people think that that has to take a long time, and it doesn't. Like, it does not have to take a long time to make your new thoughts dominant. It doesn't. You can absolutely create an assumption instantly. You can. I talk a lot about how, especially with authority figures, higher authority figures, maybe doctors, lawyers, judges, parents, parental figures, teachers, whatever, especially when we were younger, we would hear them say something and okay, we would accept that as true because we're like, oh, they know what they're talking about. They're smarter than me. They have a degree, whatever. We accept that as true pretty quickly. We don't need a lot of repetition for certain things. Okay, that it could be like that for everything. You don't always need a lot of repetition. It really depends on you. Don't tell yourself you have a lot of resistance to it. Don't tell yourself that it has to take a long time. Now, if you do experience resistance, all resistance is those opposing thoughts. It just comes from the ego. That's all it is. Resistance is just the doubt, the worries, the fears. It's okay if you experience those, just don't identify with them. Don't be like, oh, I have resistance I have to get rid of. Don't identify somebody who has to get rid of resistance. Like, don't tell yourself you have to work through all this shit to get your desire, because you don't have to work through anything. You can easily just start identifying as somebody who is already this version of yourself that has it, that doesn't have to heal their trauma, their limiting beliefs, because then you're just creating more of that. And we obviously don't want to create more of it. We just want to automatically become the version of ourselves that has it. So you can even affirm, like, I am that version of me now. I am the version of myself that has this, and there's nothing left to do. There is nothing to do. I don't have to work on anything. I don't have to change anything. I just have to choose the reality where I am already this version, and I do that by thinking. I'm just going to tell myself that I am that version now. I just noticed my tripod keeps just like getting lower and lower and lower. I need a new one. But anyways, everything can be an assumption, and I say this a lot, and I'm going to keep saying it because I really think that some of you guys haven't understood it. But literally, anything can be an assumption. Anything. So if you are telling yourself something that you don't want to experience, like, I'm still waiting for my desire, I'm just waiting for SP to show up the right way, I'm trying to manifest this, I'm trying to choose that new version. You're not trying. You don't have to try. You could just decide. It can be that simple. It really can. And I understand that people think that it really can't be this easy, especially when we grew up. A lot of people, not everybody, grew up thinking that, life isn't this easy. It's not supposed to be this easy. It is. It is. It's supposed to be this easy. But the world that we have grown up in has definitely tried to keep us from our power. It has. And it still is. It's trying to keep people from knowing just how powerful that they are. But we are powerful. Okay? I'm not kidding. Like, you are limitless beings. You are the source. You are consciousness. You are the key. You hold the whole fucking world in your hands. You hold your reality in your hands. Nobody else does. There is no source outside of you that you need approval from to get your desire. You do not have to ask God. You do not have to ask the universe. You do not have to ask your spirit guides, your higher self. No. You could just claim that it's yours. You only need your permission. Do you think you can have this? Yes, then it's yours. But, it all starts with you, nobody else. Everything, every single thing starts within you. Nobody can keep you from your desire except for you. Okay, nobody. Nobody's more powerful than you in your own reality unless you assume that they are. It's all about your assumptions. Everything is about your assumptions, about your thoughts. Stop accepting things as true that you don't want to experience. You don't have to accept them as true. Stop taking your thoughts so literal. If you have a negative thought, all right, cool, I'm going to let it pass. I'm not going to entertain it. I'm not going to identify with it. I'm not going to take it seriously. I don't even really take life as seriously as I used to, because I know that I can change things at the drop of a dime, at the snap of a finger. Life isn't supposed to be hard. You don't get rewarded for struggling. Okay, the universe does not reward you for struggle. The universe doesn't care if you're a good person. It doesn't give a shit if you're a bad person. Nothing, it doesn't care. Your subconscious doesn't care. The universe doesn't care. It doesn't matter unless you say it matters. You will see people who, are probably huge pieces of crap, and they are wealthy, successful, having the most amazing life. Why? Because they think they deserve it. Because they believe they deserve it. They think that they deserve the love, the health, the wealth, the success. That's why. Not because they're a good person. You don't have to be a good person. You don't have to come from a very successful family that, you grew up with everything handed to you. You don't. You don't have to grow up a certain way. If you feel like you have limiting beliefs, okay, that's fine. Stop identifying with them. You do not have to figure out every limiting belief you have. Just tell yourself you don't have any. Tell yourself you have no limiting beliefs to change. You could do that. You create the rules of your reality. You could do whatever you want. You can start identifying as the person that has it all right now, and then just stick to that. Now, I understand that the 3D reality can get tricky because you're actively affirming and choosing this new version of yourself, this new identity, and then the 3D reality is showing you something different, and then your logical mind gets involved, and you're like, it's not working. I am actively affirming that I am the version of myself that has it all. And the 3D is showing me exactly the opposite. That's okay. That's okay. Don't focus on it. Don't put too much awareness on it. You can acknowledge it. Don't accept it as true. Tell yourself that the old story is playing out until I make the new one dominant. Until I accept it as true. That's all it is. That's all it is. So it's okay. It is the old story playing out. It is old. It is old news. It does not fucking matter. It does not affect you now. It is the past. It is leftovers. It is yesterday's newspaper. So don't entertain it. Why are you going to entertain it? Why? Don't entertain anything that you don't want to experience. Don't. Do not. It serves no purpose to you. Don't act like it does. Don't think like it does. It doesn't matter, I promise. The circumstances don't matter. You've created the circumstances with your previous assumptions. The 3D is your previous assumptions being played out. So persist in the new one that you want to experience. Persist in it until it hardens into fact and it materializes into your 3D reality. That's all you have to do. It's okay to cry. You can cry. It's okay to have a bad day. You can have a bad day. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be happy-go-lucky 24/7. That's not very realistic now, is it? No, not at all. I don't even experience being happy-go-lucky. Like, I have a 6-year-old child that really... I will tell myself she is testing me, but she's not. She's simply just a reflection of me, and I am very well aware of that. But sometimes I'll be like, you're testing me today, child. But she's not. She's not. She's a reflection of me, and I know that. I'm not perfect every single day. I mean, I am. Like, I'm perfect. But I don't have perfect days every single day. I don't. And that's okay if you don't either. But persist. Persist until you receive what you want. Show up for yourself. Be disciplined. A lot of your issues is that you're not disciplined enough to persist in what you want. But the thing is, you're always persisting anyways. You're persisting in something, whether it's the unfavorable story or it's the favorable story. You're always persisting. And I will get a lot of people saying, but persisting is hard. No, it's not. You're doing it right now. You're persisting in the assumption that it's hard. Do you know what persisting means? Do you know what persistence is? It's pretty much you not giving up on something, and you are making a decision. So you're making a decision that persistence is hard. And you are sticking to that. You're sticking to that decision that it is hard. You're not giving up on it. That's pretty much what persistence is. You're persisting in something always, so change what you're persisting in. If you find yourself saying, oh my gosh, it's so hard, I don't have it yet, it's not here, I'm going to switch it to, no, persisting is easy, I do have it, it is mine. But a lot of people just have such a victim mentality, which again, okay, that could be normal considering on our upbringing, but that's not us anymore. That's not who we want to be. We want to be the new version of ourselves, so we're going to persist in the new version, right? Right. Yeah, we are. We're going to discipline ourselves. We are going to be consistent with ourselves and show up for ourselves every single day until we get what we want. Because how bad do you want it? Do you want your shit or not? Do you want it? If you want it, you're going to persist, and that's all there is to it. And that's how it was for me in my eviction. And when I had people saying I can't persist in my SP because it's just so hard, I literally had no choice but to persist in the eviction. And like, it wasn't an SP. Like, I'm not going to say it was harder or easier because everything is as easy or as hard to manifest. It depends on the assumption you put on it. But I wasn't going to give up. It took 2 months. Longer than what I would like, but wasn't as long as, considering how much I was wavering. But it was not something I was going to give up on because I would rather persist than be out on the street because I gave up and decided I couldn't do it or it was too hard. Stop giving up. Persist in the assumption until it hardens into fact. My phone's on 1%, so I'm cutting this video short. But if you feel like you need one-on-one coaching, my link is in the bio. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, because this does help me get out to other people who may need help understanding the law a little bit. Yeah, I think that's it. Until next time.